I made an escape room for my scouts. I'm a scout leader, and it took me a while to make it. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I probably won't ever use it. I thought maybe you guys or some other scout leader might want to try creating an escape room for their pack meetings. That's when I did it, and it was really fun. Parents were involved with it to help the kids along. I tried to make it not too hard, but entertaining enough for both parents and kids. So I'm just going to go through step by step of my escape room. If you guys don't have time to watch the whole video explaining everything I did, put all the instructions down below that you can read, and so you can make up the escape room if you don't have time to watch the whole thing. I don't have everything put together. I'm just going to go through the order of how it was, and you'll have to just use your imagination. And so we did it for pack meeting, and we had the room decorated in scout theme. We had a lot of scout accessories and posters that we hung up, and just to create kind of a theme for our escape room. My escape room down already, as I told you, but these are a few things that I had hanging on the wall. Just a few scout-themed papers and also the posters. I also had this posted on the wall somewhere, just anywhere. The first thing that we did is when they walked into the room, I kind of explained them about everything they'll be doing with the escape room. And the first thing that they see, or I kind of led them to, is a table in the middle of the room with this note here: danger, danger. There is a forest fire and it's spreading quickly, and headed to the Cub Scout cabins. Everyone else is gone for the day camp activities, and no one is here to put out the fire. You must go get help. Unfortunately, you are trapped in this room with the door locked. You cannot get out without finding the key with the red ribbon. You have 1 hour to find the key and unlock this exit and save the day. Good luck. I didn't actually lock the room, but at the end we just found the main key that unlocked a chest full of treats. But we had this on the table. These cups were also on the table. And this is their first clue. So this is just a simple cup puzzle that you can figure out. And for your first code for a lock, it's pretty simple. Just 3 styrofoam cups with numbers. I tried to not make it too hard because I wanted the kids to figure this one out pretty easy. We kind of talked about secret codes before in our Scout meetings. But when you look at them, they have 1, 2, and 3. So you'd have to put 1, 2, and 3 together. And then you would notice that some of the numbers are different. So you'd line them up. These are the cups when they're all lined up. So 2, 8, 7 are the only numbers that are different than the rest. So that is our secret code for our first lock. These are a few of my homemade lock containers. I don't know what to call them. So treasure chests, whatever. I bought all these at the DI. And I kind of just made my own lockable containers because it's going to be too expensive and it's too short notice to order order other containers that are actually lockable. And it was much cheaper. So I just tied some strings around this, and on the I locked with the lock with the key ring and the string. And all mine are kind of just created like that. This one I glued the bottom and had a string. You can't open it unless you unlock it. I think you get the point. Basically, I just made these unlockable things locked. I just glued some buttons here with strings on them. So they're not very fancy, but they work. So the first thing that they would do, since they found the code, then they would need to find a lock that would open with that secret code. This one was just actually on the table for them because I wanted the beginning to be kind of easy for them. So this is the lock for this code, 287. So go ahead and open that and you'll see your next clue. Inside this container is a paper clue. Okay. It just says, if you were able you would have some T, look under and see. So it's just kind of a little riddle to hint them at looking under the table. So under the table, I duct taped this container under the table. And it was kind of hard because it's kind of big, but I used tons of tape, so it worked for long enough. So this is their first clue for this container. There's a green lid strapped on top of this, taped on top. So that's their clue. So here's their first clue that was on top of the container. It's a green circle. If you look at the lock, I got some nail polish and I painted next to these numbers. So there's one green. So in the second slot, the number would be 1, unless they found more. I hid all of these lids in different colors all around the room. In backpacks, and we brought a cooler, put some in there. We had these fake trees set up. We hid some in the trees. We had like this fake little fire pit that we made and set up in the living room, or not in the living room, in the room. And all these were hiding all over the room. So everyone had to go and search and find these. So in the end, they found a green, let's see, 3 yellows, 6 reds, and a blue. So they would need to get the code and line them up. So the code would be 1163 to open this. I unlocked that. Inside this canister is 1 puzzle card and all these pieces. This puzzle was sitting on the table. It's just a simple pattern play game puzzle. So it's just sitting here on the puzzle with all these other pieces. Here's their new pieces. And on here it says which one is missing. So since you have your new puzzle card that came in the canister, then you would need to solve this puzzle and see which word is missing. Each piece has a few letters, or some of them have a full word taped onto each of these blocks. So we're going to put this puzzle together to see which one is missing. You'll get it if you know about Scouts, but I'll explain it once I finish the puzzle. This is the puzzle once it's finished. If you guys are familiar with Scouts, our Scout law has all these lists. A Scout is thrifty, cheerful, all these. So one of these are missing. So the boys actually knew this. Most Scouts have it memorized, but we also had a poster on the wall so they could see which one is missing. So the one that is missing was brave. They would search their containers and see which one would have brave as the code. This one is brave. I chose brave because it was Scout themed and I wanted to work with it with their Scout theme, but I had to glue or tape letters here, so I did a few so they wouldn't just assume the V is part of it. I did a U. I had an S and a T on some of these, but they fell off. So this one is brave. So then they would open this. This is a really cool container that I found at the DI. I don't really know what it's for, but the first lid comes off, and then there's this second lid here that you would take off. Under this lid is a code. A few weeks before we did our escape room for our weekly Scouts, I taught the Scouts the pig pen code. So they already knew how to do this, but in case they didn't, I had these cheat codes just in case they wanted help. We did have a rule that if they wanted a hint, then everyone would have to agree on the hint. So I just kept this just in case they wanted to look at it, but they didn't need it. Inside are pieces to this circuit game that I have. And this is the game. This box was laying on the table. Inside, it says on the bottom, Project 3. These circuit pieces go to this box. We had this somewhere hiding in the room. You can have it on a table, on a backpack. We just had it on a separate table in a different part of the room that the cups were on. So the kids would come to this box, because they would recognize the pieces go to this, and they come and search it. This says project, but then it's scribbled out. Here's a piece of paper that was left in it with some project numbers. So they know that there must be a project that they need. Also, there's no batteries. This seems kind of like a dead end, so you would just need to put your pieces from the canister in the box for later. We can't do the circuit game end of it, but we do have this code. So the kids needed to figure out what this code is. Again, this is the pig pen code that I taught my scouts beforehand. I wanted it to be a challenge and I wanted them to try to remember, so I did not show this to them, but I will show you to explain it. So these shapes are in here. So this one is a sideways angle, arrow looking shape. Okay, so it's right here, and it has a dot in it. The dot means it's going to be the second letter. So this one is a V. I drew this line here on the bottom so that they would know this is the bottom, but it took them a little while. One person mentioned maybe this line means it's the bottom, because if it's flipped this way, it looks like different letters. So it took them a while, but then they did figure out this was the bottom. So this is a V, G, see this shape here, and this last shape is right here, and it has a dot, so it's N. So they looked around and found what lock might have V, G, N. This is our next lock. Sorry about the blurriness. Okay, so this is V, G, N. Okay, once you unlock this, it has two sides. I got this again at DI. It has two sides that you can open. One side has more circuit board pieces, and also it has one battery. So you need to put these in the circuit box with the other pieces. The other side just has this piece of paper. One side is blank, and another side has a pink small triangle on the corner. Like I said earlier, I had these pictures hanging on the wall. So I had this one hanging on the wall, and it also has a pink triangle. So this one took them a little while because I don't know if they were really paying attention to the things hanging on the wall. But they eventually got it. They recognized the triangles, and once they find that they match, you put them together. And the code is P-E-R-T, PERT. So they have the next code for their lock, and they would look and see which canister would have PERT. So we have these three left. This is our PERT box. This is just a box that I couldn't really find anything good to go with this rope lock that I bought, so I drilled holes here and here and tied the string on. Then I wrapped and tangled up the lock as best as I could. I tangled it up enough that you could just barely open it, but make sure that they won't be able to get anything out of it. So put in our PERT code and open it up. Inside our PERT box is a new code here, and also a small container inside that. I didn't have a small container, so I actually just used, I glued this string here on the bottom, and I used this pencil sharpener and threaded the string through the holes there to keep this together. This one's the hardest to open, so, but it still works. So first they would need to look at this code. Around the room, I had a few of those papers like I mentioned. Here is one that was just hanging on the wall. So this is our key code for this code in the PERT box. So the code is 907. So this is our number 7. That one was a little tricky. Here's a number 7 right here. You can see the small lines going up and down. I made this code key up like on my own. So if you don't like it, you can just make your own like I did. So I didn't want to do another pig pen because we did that already. So I decided to make a whole new one. You can do any kind of shapes or lines, whatever you want to do. So this code 907 is for this small container. So go ahead and you would go ahead and open that up. Inside our pencil sharpener is a piece of paper. Again, this is Scout themed. So here's the clue in there. Blank claws, blank necessities, and don't forget Blue the Builder. If you guys are familiar with Scouts, then you would know that this is about bear. Bear claws, bear necessities, and don't forget Blue the Builder, which is a bear, Blue. So then the next container, the code was bear. This is the only one that I had a problem with because it's best if they all work as a group. But sometimes people split off and kind of try to figure out their own thing. So 2 of my boys were working together on this on their own, and they actually guessed bear as the code. So sometimes it's better to just have random words or random letters or numbers for your locks instead of themed, because they actually guessed this one ahead of time, and I had to tell them to leave it alone for a little bit until everyone caught up with what they were doing and they found the right clues to find the code bear. So that was the only hiccup that we had in the escape room, but it still ended up fine. Inside the bear box, we have this piece of paper that has a list of project 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you remember, in our Brave canister here, inside this black one, it said, let me open it, project 3 underlined. So now we have our, also there's a second battery. Now we have our second battery, and we know which project we need to do. We need to do project 3. So we come over here to our circuit game and put together project 3. Here's project 3 all set up, and when you turn it on, it will sing happy birthday. After the happy birthday song goes off, I gave my son an envelope to go and take to one of the adults. And he just said, like, congratulations, you earned your next clue, or you finished project 3, you get your next clue. So they would open up this envelope. And it says, I get blown up, but I'm not a stick of dynamite. I sometimes have a string attached, but I'm not a kite. I sometimes float, but I'm not a swimmer. I'm seen at birthday parties, but I'm not a candle. So that's obviously talking about a balloon. I had balloons taped and decorated all around the room. So we had, I don't know, like 10, 15 balloons up on the wall. Inside the envelope is taped a small safety pin. So that's why I gave it to an adult, just because you never know what kids are going to do with pins. So here's a safety pin. After this, they went around and popped all the balloons, and in one of them, out came a CTI ring. So Scouts is not, it's It's not a program by my church. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, and we often often have CTR rings. It stands for Choose the Right. I'm in a church program it's part of my church calling to be a scout leader. So this is not necessarily Boy Scout themed, but Boy Scouts do believe in choosing the right. So I had a CTR ring in one of the balloons. The last lock is this homemade lock that my son and I made together. It took forever, and I can show you a link of the video that we used to make this. So this one, you have to make sure the boys are going to be careful if you have a homemade lock, because you don't want them to try to like open it when it's not on the right code. But you slide it into place with these arrows, CTR. Okay, and it slides open. Inside our homemade lock is a key. That's 2 keys, but whatever. And this key, I don't have the chest anymore, but this key led to the exit, or the winning key. So this is the very last key that you get, and you go and unlock the chest, and we had a bunch of treats in there, and a little letter that inside the chest, when they opened it, had this little letter here. Great job. You got out just in time. You were able to escape and get help. Because of your help, the fire was put out just before reaching the cabins. You saved the day. Again, I couldn't really lock the kids in a room in my church. I don't have any of the keys, and probably that's not a good idea. So again, I had these keys go to a chest full of treats with this, but you can, if you choose, you can have it be an actual escape room. I don't have any keys to my we did it at our church, and I didn't have any keys to the rooms or anything. I just thought this would be a better idea for where we were having our escape room. But you could, if you do have a key to an actual room, you could make it an actual escape room, and then after they could get treats once they open the door. Well, that's my escape room that I created. I hope you guys really enjoy it. My scouts and their parents had so much fun. We had so much fun doing this escape room. It was a lot of work, so I wanted to share it with you guys. I just did it one time, and I probably won't do it again. So I hope you guys can do it, and your scouts can enjoy it, or even your family. It doesn't have to be about scouts. It's an awesome family activity, or workplace, or whatever you want to do. It's a great way to communicate well with each other and kind of look outside and think outside the box, cracking these codes, and it's just a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. See ya. Bye.